Advantages of double entry system. So here we now know what is double entry system. So double entry system is where we will have twofold effect, that is receiving aspect and the giving aspect. So by following this double entry system we do have certain advantages. The first one is the accuracy, which means when we enter the financial transactions using the double entry system, two aspects are being recorded in the books of accounts. So it helps us in checking the accuracy, which means even if we make mistakes, we can easily identify those mistakes. Okay, that is called as the accuracy. Second one is ascertainment of business result. So here business result is your profit or loss incurred during the accounting period, and also preparation of the financial statement, that is the last process of preparing the balance sheet, what we call as financial position. Okay, so by following this double entry system we will be having all the information readily, so that it helps us in ascertaining the profit or loss very easily. Comparative study. So the result, the business result of the company or the enterprise can be easily compared with those of the previous years, which means if you have to compare your business concerns result of this current year, okay, of the current year with the performances of the previous years, that comparison can be done very easily by using the double entry system. And also it helps us in planning for the future also. Then the fourth point is common acceptance. So it says that when we record the transactions under the double entry system, it is being accepted by the financial institutions, government, and also others, because we are following what is being specified in the accounting standards. Okay, so this double entry system is also being preferred by the accounting standards board, ASB, right? So that is why we call it a systematic and scientific system of recording. These are the advantages of double entry system. Next, we'll move on to transaction. So, we must be knowing what a transaction is. Transaction is the activity which involves money or money's worth from it can be like from one person to another. Okay, so any transaction will involve the transfer of money or money's worth. It can be like in the form of product, that is goods, or it can be in the form of services. Services means we pay the electricity bill and all, right? That is considered as service. Or any ideas from one person to the another. So basically this transaction is being classified into three categories. One is the cash transaction, second one is the bank transaction, and the third one is credit transaction. We have already seen cash transaction and credit transaction in chapter 1 itself. Okay, but again I'll explain. First one, cash transaction. When we make any activity or the transaction where we pay or receive cash immediately, we call it as cash transaction. Okay, there's an example given here. Goods are sold for cash rupees 5,000. Okay, so here cash is being received when we are making sales. We are selling the goods for rupees 5,000, which means we receive rupees 5,000. So cash is being received here, and goods worth rupees 5,000 is going out of the business, right? So what we have to consider is only the cash here, because we need to know whether we have done cash transaction or credit transaction. To identify any transaction, whether it is credit, cash, or bank, we first have to note down from the transaction whether the word cash is given or not. Okay, most of the cases will be the cash transactions. If it is a credit transaction, the word credit or the name of the person will be given in the transaction. With that we can easily identify. Okay, the second transaction is bank transaction. So basically, when cash, the term cash is not given, the word cash is not given in the transaction, instead of cash, if bank is given, then it means bank transactions. Okay, so here there are certain transactions, bank transactions given. One is cash deposited into the bank, the term bank is given there, right? So we consider it as bank transaction. Income of the business directly received by the bank. So again, here also the term bank is given. Receipts through cash deposit machines, which means nowadays instead of standing in queue and depositing through the banks, we deposit using the cash CDM, right? Cash deposit machines. Again, this also is considered as bank transaction, because the same cash deposit machine, from the deposit machine, the banker will go and take up the amount and enter it in the corresponding account holder's name. Okay, next one is any payment which is being made through the debit card or credit card or net banking. Net banking is online transactions, right? Then NEFT, that is the transfer of money from one person's account to the other person. RTGS, it is also the same. RTGS and NEFT are the same. The term is going to be same, but the transactions what we do will be slightly different. Okay. Fifth one is cash withdrawn from the bank. If any amount is being withdrawn from the bank, that also is considered as bank transactions. Bank charges levied by the bank. So any charges which is being given for us, okay, charged by the bank, in that case, that is also considered as banking transaction. Any payment made by the bank as per standing instructions. For here, as per standing instructions means, let's take that we are purchasing a television. Okay, EMI. Okay, on EMI. In that case, we'll be giving a blank check to the seller. Okay, signing and signing it across. We'll cross the check and give it to the seller. And every month the bank will pay from our account the amount which is to be paid to the seller. Okay, so for example, I need not go and pay every month EMI directly to my seller. Instead, my banker will pay it on behalf of me. Okay, that is called as per standing instruction. So I am giving instruction to the banker stating that you make payments on behalf of me. Then the next one is payments made by check. So as we all know, whenever any check is being made, or whenever you see the word check, immediately you have to treat it as bank transaction. The last one is any payment which is made through the debit card. We already saw this in the fourth point itself. The same is being repeated. So whenever we make any payment through the debit card or credit card or net banking, NEFT and RTGS, again those are being considered as your bank transactions. Okay. The last part of your transaction is credit transaction. So when you are not paying the cash immediately, and you promise saying that you will pay maybe after 15 days or a month or even 6 months, okay, you are committing that you are giving a promise to your seller that you will pay it at a later stage, but the goods has to be delivered now. So in that case we call it as credit transaction. Okay, you get your products but the payment is being made later, where these type of transaction will not have cash involved in it. Okay, so when the settlement is not made by cash or through bank immediately in a transaction, and it is called as credit transaction, but the amount is to be settled within a specified period. So there is an example given here: purchase of goods on credit for rupees 3000. So in this case, goods worth rupees 3000 comes into the business, and liability of credit worth rupees 3000 arises, which means when we are purchasing, the goods comes in, the goods are coming into the business, so you will enter that as your debit, and also you have not paid the amount, so which means you become the creditor here, so you have to enter it in your liability. Okay, so that is what is called as credit transaction.